This has been long overdue. When I made my last Limus video, I thought that would be the end of it. I was fully aware that a response of some sort was likely, but I considered it dumb because I said everything I wanted to on the topic. However, Limus can't stay out of trouble, and I feel I have no choice but to make one last video on them. If you aren't aware, a Google Doc has been going around calling out Limus for being inappropriate around minors. While it's been around for months, Limus's biggest defenders like Pink King are openly denouncing them for their actions. Some even showed that when asked, Limus would dodge their questions and play the victim, something I've openly accused them of, and now more people are starting to see it. This is me making my final call-outs because I don't just think Limus is a horrible person. I think they're an actual threat to people. Before getting into all that, I know people have been asking if I was going to respond to their response, and I mostly ignored those comments. The reason was that initially, I thought it would have to be a direct response to Limus, which would have been a waste of time. I know they would never watch it, so I didn't see a point in making it. There is another reason too, but I'll tell you all that near the end. It's something I've been scared to say until now, but I think I'm finally ready to tell everyone. Let's start back with my Limus apology video. As I mentioned earlier, I created that video because I saw Limus attempt to give a fake apology. One of my main complaints was that it was vague, and Limus made no specific points about what they were sorry for. I also felt vindicated when shortly after that video, Limus made another post saying it was just an apology to their fans, not the actual people they had openly harassed for disagreeing with them.
In this apology, Limus is apologizing for the whole mishap that they made on Twitter, which is a good thing. Is what I would say if it wasn't for the fact that Limus quoted their apology and outright stated their apology is for their fans for putting up with them and not for the people that are being critical of their childish behavior.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Again, vindication. Shortly after that, Limus made a video responding to me, SaiScribbles, and Gax. At the end of my section, Limus had the nerve to tell me this.
Do better.
You know what? Challenge accepted. I will be better. Specifically, better than you. I'm going to react to your response, address all the stuff you said about me, and call you out for all the wrong things you did. I also find it hilarious that Limus said this at the start of their response.
For those who are unaware, over the past few months, 3 people have helped spread false information and claims about me.
Yeah, we'll be addressing the part about those being lies. Anyways, let's just get into this already.
I shrugged off his video at first, mostly because I have had more than enough of my fair share of people talking about that video. I don't really care anymore if people didn't like my Angel Dust video, but it felt really disingenuous to hear him say, unlike Limus, I care about sexual abuse victims.
So I don't remember saying this exact line. Not saying I didn't, I just don't remember saying it. I like to think, though, if I did, Limus would have posted said shot instead of this one. For context, though, I was calling them out because they act like they decide what does. It doesn't qualify as an acceptable victim, even though part of my Angel Dust video explains that Angel Dust can be relatable. Which again, I did my research and found sources saying things like Angel being hypersexual can be something a victim may go through. I also find it weird that Limus uses that as justification to bully me, yet the timestamp in the shot they used says May 20th of this year. They even acknowledge they're the ones who came to my second video about them to make fun of me.
I want to point out that I did leave a comment under his second video about me, basically poking fun at the fact that he was still talking about me after a month has passed since my Angel Dust video was released.
So Limus is saying they decided to bug me because I was knowingly harassing them nonstop on Twitter, but won't show proof. Don't worry, I'm more than happy to show evidence instead. Let's start with the first tweet I ever made referencing Limus. It was promoting my Angel Dust video, explaining that it discusses why I like Angel and the series. The second tweet was a short from my Angel Dust video, where I mentioned that Limus didn't seem to know Hazbin Hotel is for adults only. This tweet was a bit snarky, I admit, but nothing I'd say was insulting. My third was when the YouTuber Manga Common asked what's the reason not to give a YouTuber a chance. I responded that it was when one knowingly ignores things that disprove their point. Again, something I openly criticized Limus for, as they knowingly ignored things like the words to Poison when saying the song glamorizes SA. Again, this is more of a critique, not an insult. My fourth was when I made a video just about Limus and my complaints about them. Like my Angel Dust video, it's just promoting it, nothing else. And now we get to my fifth one, where Limus commented on the video and I screenshotted what they said before blocking them. You're more than welcome to check for yourself, but between my first tweet about them and them finally interacting with me, it's 5 tweets. The truth is, despite being kicked off their server, I was still respectful in my critiques about them. At no time did I do anything out of line, as Limus is claiming. And if Limus has proof of that, they're more than welcome to share it. I'm guessing it's not in their response because it doesn't exist. But here's what does exist. When I made my second video, Limus made this comment that they brought up in their own video. What they don't bring up is that even then, I tried having an honest discussion with them, asking what their complaints were about my video. The only answer I got was them commenting that they did make one and I deleted it. Let me make this clear about my channel. There are multiple videos where I have people disagree with me. Those are also the longest threads of comments, usually because I'm genuinely curious why someone disagrees with me. Recently, I created a video about my dislike for Korra, and I received 2 comments that openly expressed their disagreement, sparking a lengthy discussion with both of them about their thoughts. Both even commented in the middle of it that I was a nice person to talk to. My point is, Limus is only trying to present this narrative that I'm scared of criticism and will delete any comment that disagrees with me. Which is shocking considering there are multiple videos where not only did someone say they disagreed, but I actually replied to them. The funny thing is, I was willing to just cut Limus out of my life and move on, something they addressed in their video, where I did call them a bully, because it did feel like they did bully me for saying I disliked their Angel Dust video, leading to Limus showing how they responded to that.
But when he made a tweet saying that I was a bully and had no interest in debating him, I quote tweeted him with the screenshot showing what he posted in my Discord server.
I also know everyone wants me to address this, so let's get this out of the way. Yes, I did post 2 things about Nami in a chat dedicated to discussing characters like that. I still stand by saying that at the time, the name was Waifu Chat, and I've been saying it for months prior. Regardless of the name though, it was true that I sent 2 images. I didn't see the problem with posting them. The first was a wall scroll I bought of Nami in a bikini. I purchased this wall scroll back in 2014 at a convention called Otakon. Not only was this officially licensed from the distributors of One Piece, and you could see the trademark in the bottom corner, but the poster was one of the ones openly hanging in the merch area for wall scrolls. My point is that I didn't view the poster as an issue because it's Nami in a bikini. It's not fan art, it's official art licensed by the creators and distributors of the series. I only wanted to show that I've been a fan of Nami for years and bought said poster because of that. As for the other posts that were screenshots of Nami from One Piece Odyssey, I didn't see the problem with them. And even now, I still don't. First, these images did not show any explicit content. While I agree that one is a close-up of Nami's chest, she is still fully clothed in said image. Additionally, I doubt that was the real issue, considering Limus had the same problem with the wall scroll, stating it was one of the reasons they banned me in their tweet. Second, it's hypocritical to get mad at me for this post, but knowingly allowing worse images to be posted in the same chat, while also openly reacting to them. Just to give you an idea for anyone who hasn't seen them yet, these were some of the ones Kaz showed in his video.
Me and my mods do our best to make the server a safe space for people. Marco Strange is over the age of 30 and he was posting lewd images of Nami in a server that had a large portion of people below the age of 15 in it.
The thing that Limus said about making her server a safe space for minors is a total lie. Why? Well, how about I provide you some screenshots of Limus not doing the job she claims she's doing? In fact, let me provide you with screenshots showing Limus and their fans posting lewd shit and making sexual comments themselves. Turns out, she was throwing stones in a glass house the entire time. Rules for Fee, but not for me.
All this accomplished for Limus was showing they're a hypocrite who overreacted to an anime girl in a bikini. They can't even argue that what I posted was wrong, considering what else was allowed in that server. Especially since Limus first responded to the doc, which has been up for months prior. Their argument for why they let that happen was that the number of minors at the time was low, and the youngest was 16 years old. Again, hypocritical. If they were just a hypocrite, that would be one thing. However, Limus also manipulates any situation if they think that will make them look better. Take this part for example.
He started saying that the images he sent on my server were fine because there wasn't any nudity, and that all he did was share anime girls in my server. He has also gone on record saying that the channel he sent the images to was called Waifu Chat.
Limus is knowingly leaving out the context of my tweet, and it makes sense when you see it. Someone replied to me claiming that I was posting not safe for work Nami art in the server, while also claiming Nami was underage. On top of that, they claim Limus had proof of this. Considering Limus has never posted this supposed proof, and outright hides this in their response video, it's obvious this was a lie. And before someone says that this is someone else claiming this, I know from Cause's video that they were knowingly making claims similar to those about me in their Discord server.
Mind you that Limus was doing the same shit Marco did, but worse. And she also called Marco a racist pedophile on Discord at one point. A little bit of a fun fact.
At the time of writing this script, I discovered that Limus had deleted their server. While it is gone, it doesn't take away from the fact Limus openly committed defamation against me. It's even funnier considering the very thing the person accused me of was something Limus did on their Blue Sky account.
Him trying to diminish what he did made it very clear to me that he's a liar who is willing to twist the truth as much as possible to make himself look better.
Bullshit! You're the one twisting the narrative to make yourself as a victim, Limus. And while we're talking about supposedly caring about SC victims and track records, let's mention that Limus had a not safe for work account on Blue Sky where she posted her porn drawings. And she posted a porn of Sonic in his werewolf form. And there I remind you, Sonic is 15 to 16 years old. Bravo, Limus! Bravo!
By the way, they also deleted their Blue Sky accounts. Unfortunately, the lies continue from Limus as they accuse me of being transphobic.
This then resulted in now deleted tweets of him dropping his respect for my pronouns and starts purposely misgendering me and crashing out.
Yes, I did call Limus he during said crash out. I was unaware at the time, and I wasn't going to go out of my way to read the bio on their Twitter since they just made it clear they thought the best response to my fair criticism against them was to laugh at me. At least I've gone out of my way to delete those tweets and also edit any comments that had that. Unlike Limus, I try to be respectable, even if the person isn't deserving of it. What's crazier to me, though, is that Limus tries to continue saying I'm transphobic by saying this.
I do think him saying that he cares about sexual abuse victims is tone deaf given his track record, especially given how he went out of his way to heart transphobic comments about me. And seeing how a lot of trans and queer people in general supported his video without even knowing this is disheartening.
Before I get into that comment, did Limus just generalize trans people as SA victims? They literally went from talking about how I openly claim to care about victims of SA to bringing up what they consider proof of me being transphobic. Either they generalized the two together, or this is just another example of them not being that bright. Honestly, either is believable. As for the comment itself, notice that Limus is showing that not only did I heart it, I also replied to it. Their hiding it is another example of manipulating the story to fit their narrative, because it shows why I hearted it. Spoiler, it wasn't what they claimed. In my reply, I mentioned that I was also a fan of Ralphie May, whom I watched a lot on Comedy Central. Besides that, I agreed with them about Limus being a hypocrite, something I brought up multiple times in this video already, and will continue bringing up. Again, Limus is either trying to force a narrative despite clear evidence to the contrary, or jumping to conclusions because I didn't want to read their bio after bullying me for making a video that critiqued them. Which again, Limus did bully me, and the fact that they're pretending they didn't is disgusting.
But when he made a tweet saying that I was a bully and had no interest in debating him, I quote-tweeted him with the screenshot showing what he posted in my Discord server.
It's kind of weird that Limus is claiming the reason they did this was because I called them a bully and said they didn't want to debate me. However, they've done nothing but prove that was precisely what they did, and I've been right this whole time. When the video went up, Limus made a comment to laugh at me, which they admit was wrong. Besides that, they also lied when I tried to get them to give me an actual critique of my video, saying I had deleted it. Don't you think that if this was true, that Limus did give me a critique and I deleted it, wouldn't that be part of this response? It's the best argument to show I'm a liar about wanting to debate them, since it would make me look like a hypocrite. Guess it's better to just ignore that too, since they either don't have proof of this, or don't want to apologize for outright lying about me. Speaking of, Limus tries to apologize for escalating the situation between the two of us. Keyword, tries.
A lot of my behavior during this time period was wrong, and it deserves to be criticized. There's no doubt that I did play a part in the escalation of my situation with him. Pointless bickering did happen with me and him, and my participation in it did not help either side and only made things worse, and I apologize for that.
First, speak for yourself, Limus. I agree this was unnecessary drama, but it did prove my point about you being a bully. Instead of having a discussion with me, something I was open to having, you decided the best response was to make fun of me and openly lie about me. It did make one of us look bad, though. You. I also refuse to believe this apology. Considering Limus's track record in knowingly making things worse, something I will come back to, I find it hard to believe Limus is legitimately sorry for their actions during this. Also, if they did respond to this, they'd most likely say it was an apology meant to their fans instead, even though I'm the one they openly harassed for months. Even admitting things like their comments or their streams about me were out of line.
I have also made 2 pre-stream chat videos on my VOD channel in which me and a friend or 2 would talk about Marco and laugh at his crash out. These videos have since been privated, mostly because I don't like stooping to the level of these people, and keeping them up felt very unprofessional on my part.
I really don't understand how this is stooping to my level. I never made a stream making fun of you. I am sure I called you out for crashing out when you deactivated Twitter during the Alex Brightman thing, but that was me pointing out that you can't handle the drama that you purposely started. Again, we'll get there soon. Also, I never watched those streams, but apparently, one of them made fun of my book. I'm curious what that was supposed to accomplish. I made that book way before I interacted with Limus. It had no relevance to anything between us. All I can assume is that they used it as more ways to make fun of me because that's how they handle anyone criticizing them. To be fair, they are right about it being unprofessional. I would give them credit for admitting it was, but they also proved that they love being unprofessional. Before getting to that, though, Limus addresses me and everyone critiquing them.
But some of the things that he and others have said is that I didn't like Angel Dust because I didn't like the way he coped with his abuse. This is true, but a lot of the people, including him, summarized my problem with that being that I don't like how Angel Dust copes with his abuse by being hypersexual.
I don't really want to cover this again, because I've talked about this already in my Angel Dust video. I would literally just go over the same points I made in that video, which were my issues with Limus's critique of Angel Dust. I would also prefer it if you watched that instead of wanting me to repeat it, because at least back then, I was still respectable to them. Now I can't promise I would have the same amount of respect, since I now know Limus is a bully, a liar, a hypocrite, and a manipulator. Now we get into one of the worst things Limus did during all of this. The real reason I put myself back in the narrative. I think most assume I'm still in because of how Limus treated me, but it's actually because of how they treated Alex Brightman and others at the convention they went to.
Me and Vex and a lot of my other friends found it funny, and I only really showed up at the convention wearing the sign as an inside joke with me and my followers, hence why I made the tweet showing off the autograph. Of course, that tweet got controversy and even got a response from VivziePop saying how much she disliked it.
The whole thing comes across as tone deaf from Limus. They act like the main issue here was getting Alex Brightman to sign something inappropriate. While that was an issue, and I will address that later, there were worse issues than this. Something I know Limus is aware of, considering it was part of my fake apology video. First, it's a thumbnail of a video they made. However, the most noticeable part of the thumbnail is the middle, which is a picture of Angel Dust being essayed from episode 4 of Hazbin Hotel. It's the one episode that even some fans have trouble watching because it can be triggering for them to watch Angel being assaulted or breaking down and admitting they want to be broken so that Val will leave them alone. Despite Limus claiming they do care about victims, they knowingly walked around with this around their neck, in front of potential fans who are also victims who get triggered by that episode. On top of that, it's also creepy considering the show is 18+, and I'm pretty sure this was a public con they went to, meaning there's a big chance the minors also saw this image. Again, hypocritical, considering they wanted to complain about the Nami pictures, one of which was from a game rated T for teen, but is fine showing an image of a character being essayed from a show specifically targeted to adults. Second, they were told that this image was inappropriate because there were children at this con. Limus's response was to laugh and slut-shame cosplayers. This was one of the main reasons I returned to the Limus situation, and I refuse to believe someone who would openly say this cares about anyone who's ever been a victim. Just so there's no confusion on this topic, and anyone tries saying they didn't mean that, PlannedParenthood.org defines slut-shaming as, quote, accusing someone, usually girls and women, of being too sexual, and using that as an excuse to humiliate, bully, or harass them. The reason slut-shamers target people is to make themselves feel more powerful by putting other people down. They also add examples of slut-shaming, which include calling someone a slut and demeaning someone for wearing revealing clothes, regardless of what they're actually wearing. Slut-shaming is also a way to discredit actual victims, and I think someone who claims to care about victims would know that. It really says a lot that Limus knowingly ignored these points, despite claiming they want to address all the, quote, lies about them. Is this them silently agreeing they did slut-shame cosplayers and not wanting to address it? I mean, if they think this is a lie, I expect this to be part of their response. The closest we come to them acknowledging they made anyone at the con uncomfortable is their fake apology.
A lot of people were upset over me doing this, and if you thought that it was irresponsible, then I want to apologize. My intention was to make a few of my friends and followers laugh. I wasn't expecting it to reach the amount of attention that it got.
The reason this apology is fake is that it's a non-apology, or a backhanded apology. Basically, Limus is saying sorry because people want them to, not because they think they've actually done something wrong. That's the whole point of them saying, if you thought it was irresponsible. It's taking away their responsibility and putting it on the people they made uncomfortable instead. It would be like me saying, if you feel that my posting pictures of Nami was inappropriate, then I apologize. It's fake because I don't think I'd done anything wrong, especially with how I now know about what Limus allowed in that chat. I don't believe in giving anyone a fake apology. I would only open myself up to criticism that I'm only saying sorry because it's what people want me to do, not because I actually feel sorry. Moving on, Limus tries to explain why the autograph itself wasn't out of line.
However, I did not harass or even threaten Alex Brightman into signing my thumbnail. People at these meet and greets have the ability to refuse to sign anything that is given to them. Him saying no to signing the thumbnail would not have caused a scene like people act like it would.
Yes, these guests at cons do have the ability to refuse to sign certain things. However, Limus forgets that going to conventions is a big moneymaker for VAs, and many don't want to rock the boat by starting controversy, which would affect people wanting to go up to them for autographs, or even the ability to be invited to these cons. It's also laughable that Limus says this about being accused of wanting to start drama if Brightman had refused. Just a quick reminder, this is the same person who got mad that I made a video critiquing them and admitted they acted inappropriately by escalating the situation between us. It's hard to argue they wouldn't have done that when they admitted to doing that in the same video with someone else. I honestly could picture the smile on their face had Brightman said no, and them turning it into the cast being scared of criticism towards the show. What's funnier is that Limus wants us to take their word for it that Alex Brightman was cool with it.
I asked him if he could sign my thumbnail, and I explained to him that it was a video I made criticizing Hazbin Hotel. Alex found the idea of the sign funny and had no issue signing it, and adding, "Keep throwing sea rats," which is a reference to my streams.
So we're supposed to take Limus's word on this? How many times exactly have I pointed out they're lying about something in this video alone? It's not ridiculous to think that Limus isn't the most trustworthy person, so I'm not going to take their word for it. Also, Limus is ignoring the possibility that Viv did talk to Alex about this situation, and responded the way she did because of it. I have no doubt Alex Brightman was nice because he didn't want to start drama, but it was still Limus choosing to put him in that situation. Limus did all that because they thought it would be a cool pic of them to post on Twitter and brag about. Thankfully, fans instantly called them out for it, myself included. Following this, Limus goes into the Jaded situation, and the accusations against Brandon Rogers.
In my tweet supporting the victim, I said that grooming comes in many forms and it isn't always sexual. In this case, I believe that it was financial grooming. But because most people only know one definition of grooming, people including Marco have ran with the claim that I called Brandon Rogers a pedophile.
I have never said they called Brandon Rogers that. Every time I have brought up this situation, I use the same term they use, groomer. Again, if they had proof of this, I'm pretty sure we would have seen it in this response. Also, Limus is missing the actual problem people had with them calling Rogers that.
I don't believe that Brandon Rogers is a pedophile, and I never made that claim. I do believe that he took advantage of a young fan's admiration to try and get free commission work instead of paying them.
At no time has Limus ever explained how they came to that conclusion that Brandon Rogers is a groomer. The original tweet for the supposed victim doesn't even claim that Rogers is one. This narrative originated from Limus, who repeatedly preached it, and when asked why, they wouldn't explain.
Falsely accusing Brandon Rogers of grooming, which, by the way, when I confronted them in their comment section in their recent video about it, they fucking doubled down. Limus responded by just doubling down and stating that Brandon manipulated the 15-year-old to make an edit for him. You dumb motherfucker! Which is not what happened. But Limus refuses to let this narrative go.
Even in this response, they still don't explain their reasoning, just repeat the same lines. It's also worth noting that Jada's tweet at no time accused Rogers of that. However, Limus probably had the effect of making people think Jada was claiming Rogers was one, which is honestly sad considering that Limus hijacked their story, and they probably got more harassment than if Limus had taken Jada's story to spread a narrative about Brandon Rogers grooming someone. I also don't believe Limus when they apologized to Jada for this.
I'm sorry that you aren't able to feel like people can listen to what you have gone through. You deserve safety and not to be taken advantage of. My takeaway of what happened to you may not be your takeaway, and I don't want to be speaking on your behalf. And I'm sorry if that's what I did.
If Limus really believed that, then why did they take Jada's story and put words in their mouth? Again, at no time does Jada accuse Brandon Rogers of that. That was Limus who started that. The worst part is that, if Jada really was the victim of this, Limus forcing themselves into the narrative has only made people more skeptical. Limus used their story about Brandon Rogers as a way to start a narrative that wasn't true, and I refuse to believe a person who cares about victims and thinks it's their story to tell would openly hijack it for their own personal use. To close off my section of their response, Limus addresses me directly. While they go over the same complaints they brought up, there's one part I want to address the most.
Marco, I think you are a liar and a grifter. I believe you care more about getting attention on your videos rather than helping out sexual abuse victims.
Before addressing why Limus is wrong, I want to say something to all the people who have supported me back when I first started with my angel dust video. When I made my first Limus videos, I never intended to speak for anyone who felt invalidated by Limus's video. I did think it was important to bring up that SA victims can be like angel dust, but I never intended to speak for any victims who happen to relate to them. Since those videos have been up, I've received comments from people thanking me for making those videos. One comment even went into detail about the reasons they, like angel dust, masked themselves to downplay what they went through. To all of you who freely shared these comments on my videos, thank you. I can't imagine it was easy making these comments, and when Limus was harassing me and spreading false narratives about me, it reminded me why I made those videos in the first place, and I don't regret making them. However, I did feel upset that so many were freely sharing their story, while I wasn't sharing mine. And part of the reason I didn't make a response sooner was that I didn't think I was ready to share my story. I want to clarify that I don't feel like I'm being forced to tell this to anyone. Yes, Limus did just assume I only did this because I was a grifter, but if I wasn't ready, I would tell everyone that I did have my own story, but wasn't ready to tell it. I'm sharing this now because I want to, and I'm ready to. Growing up, I was bullied a lot and treated like crap. Not just by kids at school, but even my own family. I had friends who openly abused and mistreated me constantly. They would drag me into their own drama, which I shouldn't have been involved in. It would guilt me into doing things for them. When they were finally done with me, they would immediately say things like the only reason they were my friend was because they felt bad because I was a retard. I'm sorry if that's hurtful for anyone to hear watching this, but I want to make it clear what exactly I went through. Sadly, it wasn't much better on my family's side. I had parents who constantly argued, and I was usually dragged into the middle of most arguments to pick a side. It's why I'm also sensitive to loud noises, because of how triggering they are to me. My dad also told me at one point that I was a mistake, and made it clear that no matter what, he didn't want to be around me. Whenever we did things like see a movie, we would stop at a friend's house for hours so that he could talk to them, making it clear he didn't want to use that day bonding with his own son. Whenever I tried to complain about this to relatives, I was told I was ungrateful and that my dad actually cared despite never showing it. Keep in mind, my dad is a bastard, who not only physically assaulted my mom, but openly cheated on her. The last time I even talked to my dad, he also threatened me to my face. Those same relatives who defended him got quiet when I told them about that. The reason I got myself involved in the situation was that I am a victim of bullying and have been abused physically, mentally, and emotionally. I will clarify, though, that I'm not a victim of SA. However, abuse is still abuse, and it's not right for anyone to go through that, especially by someone who openly claims to care about victims but will treat them like trash the minute they disagree with them. Not only has Limus bullied me, but they bullied others, even going so far as to bully them off sites like Twitter. Months ago, someone posted that Limus bullied their friend off the site. I will admit I have no proof of this, and the person didn't have any proof either. However, Limus wants to push that we should believe victims, and from personal experience, it's believable that Limus would knowingly work to bully someone off Twitter, especially since they made a stream making fun of me when I deactivated my account after they tried bullying me. In the end, Limus doesn't care about anyone, even the victims they pretend to speak for. They care about what pushes their narrative. If you dare disagree with them, you become public enemy number one in their head. It's actually terrifying how much they remind me of my father, a stubborn jerk who pretends they're never wrong and pretends they could act like that constantly. They even had people outright defending them and treated them as if they had done nothing wrong, similar to how people on my dad's side would do the same for him. Unfortunately for Limus, they eventually pushed everyone away, and now they don't have that anymore. To close this video off, I want to address Limus directly. Also, I'll put it in a short, since they're too lazy to watch me address all the things they said about me. Limus, you're a horrible person, a bully, a liar, a hypocrite, and a manipulator. You have it in your head that you're always the victim, when in reality, you're always the villain. I don't regret anything related to how I handled the situation. If anything, I'm happy you knowingly attacked me for the Nami photos. Not only did it make it so that you couldn't try to manipulate me, but it also showed how much of a hypocrite you really are. I made my first 2 videos to only start a discussion about Angel as a character and Hazbin Hotel in general. Since then, I've made videos to call you out for how horrible you are, and I have no problem continuing to make videos about you in the future. Yes, I want this to be the end, but that doesn't mean I'll just ignore you when you try to act like the victim when you do something wrong. You also have never known why I got involved, and the fact that you will just assume things to keep insulting me is more proof that you only care about causing drama. I got involved because you're a bully, and I was tired of bullies back in high school. It's also sad that you're in your 20s and still acting like a high school bully by going around spreading lies and name-calling anyone you dislike. I won't waste my breath telling you to do better because I know that's impossible for you. Instead, I'll spend it telling anyone I can to avoid manipulators like you, because unlike you, I do care about victims.